Welcome to the Full Moon Film Buff, episode 93. We're going to talk about Night Shadow from 1989. I watched this on Tubi. I had not seen this before. As always, we start with the prominent crew and cast. There are links to the complete crew and cast in the show notes. This film was written and directed by Randolph Conlon. Creature design was by Mark Crow. I could find almost no information on either of these individuals. They both worked on nearly no other films. The cast includes Brenda Vance as Alex Jung, Rick Scott as the Hitcher, the werewolf, Stuart Kwan as Tai Jung, billed as Dane Chan, Tom Boylan as Adam Newquist, Kato Kalin as Dean Lesher, Orion Richmond as Bruce Anderson. Now, Brenda Vance appeared in the only two films Randolph Conlon directed, and she only appeared in those two films. Stuart Kwan got his start as a stunt extra. He also appeared in both Conlon films, but unlike most of the rest of the cast, he moved on to more roles. Unfortunately, his career was cut short by a tragic heart attack at the age of 44. Now, this film was Kato Kalin's second film appearance and kicked off a 3-decade-long career, including quite a bit of reality TV. He's never been a major star and is unfortunately much more well-known for his minor role as a witness in the O.J. Simpson trials for the murder of Simpson's ex-wife Nicole and her friend Ronald Goldman. Rick Scott also did special effects and prosthetics for the film. He has only 2 other film credits. Tom Boylan did this movie and 1 TV show appearance. Orion Richmond has had an on-again, off-again career with long, slow periods, but he has worked more than most of the other actors in this film. I can't recommend this film to the casual viewer. That said, I did have some fun wrestling with some elements in it, but it's not a very fun movie to watch. As far as tidbits go, Stuart Kwan's first acting role was in John Carpenter's classic Big Trouble in Little China in 1986, and on the wall of his character's room, you see a prominent poster for that movie. Additionally, his wife shares the same relatively uncommon last name as the actress portraying his cinematic sister. I have no evidence that this is the case, but in my head, Stuart and Brenda are brothers and sisters-in-law in real life. That's not a tidbit, that's speculation. So now let's talk about the synopsis. As an up-and-coming TV journalist, Alex drives into her hometown of Danford for an introspective vacation. And she passes an obvious serial killer with a broken-down car. He's got literal human body parts in the trunk. A nice good old boy gives him a ride and is killed for his kindness. Pretty boy Dean tries really hard to hook up with Julie while her parents are out of town. 2 weird people in torn denim, leather, and pantyhose masks sneak up on the amorous couple. Turns out to be Ty and Bruce, a pair of practical joking assholes. Ty is Alex's little brother. Ty exclusively wears half shirts the whole movie to show off his abs, which are impressive, to be fair. The trio leaves Julie with a broken door to go to the bar to get drunk. Alex is anxious about finally getting the career she wanted. Alex's ex-boyfriend Adam is the sheriff now. The body of the Good Samaritan is found in a dumpster. Danford has the biggest forensic team and sheriff's department I have ever seen for such a small town. The serial killer is tailing Dean and Bruce when they look for a place to get even more drunk once they get kicked out of the bar. The cops finally check out the killer's abandoned car and they find the bodies in it. The killer has claws, permanently, all the time. Alex dreams of Ty eating a maggot-infested hand and offering her some. Alex's boss, Tony, tracks her down to cover this murder boom since it's happening in her hometown. The movie tries to make the mayor look sleazy for hosting a press conference telling everyone the police are doing everything they can to apprehend the killer and asking for the public's help, which is exactly what they should be doing and are doing. I mean, seriously, the sheriff makes only good recommendations and suggestions. Ty is a kickboxer. Turns out the killer is squatting in a room at the motel where Ty lives and works, and Alex is staying. Ty spots a journal with lots of creepy drawings in it. After the press conference, Alex finally passes on what she saw driving into town to Adam. For some reason, she still doesn't tell him about the serial killer staring at them right that moment from across the street. Ty has a run-in with 3 rowdy bikers who were destroying a motel room. Despite them wielding clubs, knives, and all manner of weapons, he kicks their asses. The 4th has the sense to just drive off. The coroner identifies animal bite marks on the victims as a large dog, or wolf. However, the bodies were disposed of in a way that no animal could accomplish. Adam thinks that they're looking for a man and his trained dog. Ty and friends find rotting meat in the killer's room. They steal his journal and flee, but the killer knows that they were there. Ty finds evidence that the killer has been disposing of bodies down the motel drains. The killer finally transforms into a wolfman. Danford has become a ghost town since everyone is terrified. The dimwit trio read the journal, and it makes absolutely no sense. Something about a nuptial song. Alex and Adam flirt awkwardly over dinner. The coroner finally identifies the couple that was found in the trunk, and they were from LA. Dean stupidly walks to Julie's house. The Wolfman attacks, Dean dies, and the Wolfman gets his journal back. Ty takes Dean's death really hard. Things don't look good for Ty when one of the bikers turns up mutilated and the other three testify that Ty stabbed him. The cops find martial arts weapons in Ty's room. It's not unreasonable to ask Ty at least a few questions, but I can confirm that just possessing throwing stars does not make you a killer. Ty makes a break for it. Now, Bruce goes off on his own as well and dies. He's an idiot. Meanwhile, Ty fights this deputy with the biggest chip on his shoulder. Of course, a gun beats martial arts. The deputy gives a good speech about stopping the murders while simultaneously engaging in a little police brutality and cuffs Ty to the black and white. The deputy investigates noises and gives us our first really good look at the werewolf. He dies. Adam and Alex show up. Adam pumps 4 bullets into the werewolf, which is not nearly enough bullets. Ty drives the cop car into the beast, pinning it to the wall. Ty tries to shoot it, but he is a crap shot. He does hit the gas tank, and the car instantly explodes, cooking the werewolf. There is a weird scene that implies that all of this makes sense, but it doesn't. Alex and Adam kiss and drive off. Does she take the job in LA? I am so confused. Now, we only get one transformation in this film, and it mostly happens in shadows. The Wolfman casts a shadow on the wall that changes. There are a few tidbits on screen, but it's not that impressive. That said, the Wolfman makeup's job is fine when he's in his more human form. The werewolf form is stiff and not expressive at all. It looks good in still shots, but as soon as the performer has to move, it looks like this heavy, inflexible suit. The film adds almost nothing to werewolf lore. We know nothing about how or why the Wolfman became a werewolf. The Wolfman has literally 0 speaking lines in the movie. He could have been your garden variety psychopath, and nothing about the film would have changed. The first topic I want to unravel is the mystery of Alex's professional crisis. What is the point of this? Why is she even a character in this film? She does not do anything. She's never stalked or attacked by the werewolf. She never fights or injures the werewolf. She has a weird dream she tells no one about. She passes on none of the potentially useful information she knows until after it's been confirmed via another source. In other words, the plot would have unfolded exactly the same way without her presence. Now, the killer is fixated on Alex, but he would have killed all the same people whether she was there or not. Ty would have been a suspect. Ty would stop the killer the same way in the end. This makes me think that Alex's purpose in the film has to be thematic. Alex has worked hard to achieve what she thought was her dream career of being a television news anchor. But she's having second thoughts. She tries to explain her reservations to Ty. They boil down to the fact that the news covers the darkest parts of life: murder, tragedy, and scandal. She's not sure she wants to commit her life to focusing on such negative things. She thinks maybe she can retreat to her idyllic hometown where such things don't happen. Except they do. The killer, Alex, and the 2 victims all come from LA. The violence comes to the small town from the big city. Did Alex bring it with her via some psychic link? The film goes to a lot of effort to tie Alex and the killer together with this weird double exposure shot where Alex and the killer are overlaid on a storm, but it doesn't make sense because the killer was bringing his victims to Danford before Alex got there. So was Alex brought there because the universe intends for her to have this career? She can't run from it? Her boss gets a hold of her and drags her back into covering the story. I think this interpretation makes the most sense, but the movie does not make this clear. We don't know if she decides to stick around in Danford or to take the big city job, which seems like an important question to resolve this issue. Now let's talk about martial arts. This film isn't the first werewolf film with Asians in it. Unless I'm missing something, that honor goes to The Beast of the Yellow Night from 1971, but that is a Philippine import. Older werewolf films like Werewolf of London from 1935 had characters who were supposed to be Asian but were played by Westerners. Night Shadow is the first Hollywood film with important characters who are Asian and are played by Asian actors. Alex's ethnic identity isn't important to her story, but Ty's is, so let's untangle this theme, starting with Alex. She's certainly Asian, but nothing other than her physical features marks her. Her name, Alex, is typically Western. She's not shown to have any stereotypical Asian interests. It's never mentioned that her ethnicity has made her professional career harder. Ty, on the other hand, is marked. He has an unusual name, and it's certainly possible that Alex being female makes her less threatening, while Ty is seen as a potential threat because he's male, but the movie doesn't present any evidence for that perspective. The biggest difference is that he practices martial arts. So, what's the movie saying with Ty and his martial arts? It doesn't help Ty in the final confrontation with the werewolf. The wolf is shot, crushed by a car, and then burnt. At no point is the werewolf faced in man-to-beast mortal martial combat. We do get an awesome scene with Ty kicking 3 bikers' asses. One consequence of this fight is that Ty is implicated as a violent person and potentially the killer, which leads him and the deputy to being in the crosshairs of the werewolf. So to figure out what's going on, I think we need a brief discussion on the history of martial arts in Hollywood cinema. To start with, martial arts has always been a part of Hollywood from the beginning, with swashbuckling rogues and cowboy fisticuffs. Eastern martial arts made their way into Western cinema gradually, transforming action films and creating whole new genres in the process. The integration began in the 60s and kicked into high gear in the 70s, driven by a combination of cultural exchange, changing audience tastes, and pioneering performers. Early influences came from Asian cinema, particularly Hong Kong action films. These films, with their dynamic fight choreography and acrobatic stunts, offered a fresh alternative to the Western-style fistfights and gunplay dominating Hollywood action scenes. Bruce Lee played a pivotal role in bringing martial arts to Western audiences. His breakout Hollywood film, Enter the Dragon from 1973, showcased not just Lee's physical prowess, but also the philosophy and artistry of Kung Fu. The film's success opened doors for other martial artists in Hollywood and sparked a Kung Fu craze in American popular culture. At this point, Eastern martial arts styles were perceived by a vast majority of the audience as something exotic and foreign. As martial arts gained popularity, Hollywood incorporated these fighting styles into mainstream action movies. Films like The Karate Kid in 1984 helped popularize martial arts among younger audiences, while also exploring themes of discipline, mentorship, and personal growth. It also definitely blended the Oriental origins of these styles with Western practitioners, a practice that surged in the 80s and 90s as Western martial arts focused action stars, including Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Steven Seagal, exploded into mainstream popularity. These actors brought various styles to the screen, from karate and kickboxing to Aikido, often blending them with traditional Hollywood action tropes. And it's in this transition period that we find this movie. Martial arts are becoming mainstream, but they aren't there yet. To the young men about Ty's age, there is nothing unusual about his hobby. But to those just a little older, it's odd, associated with the same part of the world as Vietnam, Korea, and Japan, countries where America had been fighting wars within a generation. And the weapons do look odd. In this context, Ty's ethnicity is his weakness. As long as things are fine, Ty's just an eccentric. But when the people of Danford are scared, Ty's ethnicity sets him apart from the crowd, and his martial prowess marks him as someone to be feared. Now, I can't speak to being an Asian kid, particularly a boy, in the 80s, but I get a sense that they faced a conundrum. Learn martial arts and face this Western judgment, or don't, and be perceived as not Asian enough. I'd love to hear from the Wolf Pack if any of you have any experience dealing with this challenge in the late 20th century, or who knows, even now. Like I said, not an expert. Martial arts in cinema continued influencing choreography and stunt work across genres. Jackie Chan, already a superstar in Asia, successfully crossed over to Hollywood with Rumble in the Bronx in 1995. Chan's unique blend of martial arts, acrobatics, and comedy offered a whole new template for action comedy. The Matrix trilogy famously combined martial arts with cutting-edge special effects, creating a new visual language for action sequences. In recent decades, martial arts in Hollywood have become more diverse and sophisticated. Today, martial arts are a staple of action cinema, with choreographers like Yuen Wu-ping achieving recognition for their contributions to film. The influence extends beyond traditional action movies, enriching superhero films, science fiction films, and even comedies. So, if you like lycanthropes, like, share, and subscribe. Contribute your thoughts and additional observations in the comments below. Let me know what I missed or what you noticed. Next, I plan on discussing Mom from 1990. Keep your eye on the moon, a silver bullet in the chamber, and we'll see you back next episode.